Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Khasab ship joins the fleet of Royal Navy of Oman within the Ufuk project. National Museum attracts more than 1,500 visitors during the first week of its opening to the public. And 70 million Omani Riyals is the total value of the government treasury bills, issue number 12. Live here at the news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, here we present to you 7 o'clock news bulletin. And now the details. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has received a couple of thanks from His Excellency President Mahmoud Abbas of Palestine, Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Palestine Liberation Organization, in reply to His Majesty's cable of condolences on the death of his brother Umar Abbas. Within the framework of developing and updating its naval fleet, the Royal Navy of Oman RNO celebrated the receiving of Khasab ship, the last of Al Ufuk project. The project is aimed to provide RNO with 4 coast patrol vessels fitted with latest systems and defensive equipment to fulfill requirements and to help it carrying out national duties. The project, after its completions, will constitute a new addition to a series of development and modernization adopted by the Royal Navy of Oman to develop its naval fleet. Air Vice Marshal Matar bin Ali Al Ubaidani, commander of the Royal Air Force of Oman, presided over the launching ceremony. On its first week of opening, the National Museum attracts more than 1,500 visitors, as the Omani families constitute 80% of the visitors. The aim of the museum is to promote public awareness and to preserve the components of Omani cultural heritage by supporting research and scientific and historical studies and plans for conservation. It includes 14 fixed display halls, among which is the Land and the People Gallery that focused on the Omani civilization and the way Omani people lived and interacted with other nations. The Maritime History Gallery narrates the relations of Oman with the sea, as well as the history of Omani sailors and traders carrying various commodities across the seas and oceans. In the Arms and Armor Gallery, the visitors can learn about the traditional Omani weapons since the ancient times until the start of the 20th century. The Civilization in the Making Gallery came to shed light on the Omani architecture back in the 3rd millennium BC, as well as to introduce the visitors to Majan civilization. Meanwhile, the Aflaj Gallery acquaints the visitors with the Falaj systems in the Sultanate, among which are the 5 Falads that were enlisted by UNESCO in the list of the World Heritage back in 2006. The Gallery of Currency provides an overview of the currencies in the Sultanate, reaching latest digital technologies in this field. The Prehistory and Ancient History Gallery included the ancient items and old writings from various historical periods. The Land of Frankincense Gallery provides an opportunity to get acquainted with the trading of frankincense in the Governorate of the Far since the 3rd millennium BC. The visitors to the Splendors of Islam Gallery will find out about the great relations of Oman with the Islamic religion and its great values. The Gallery of Oman and the world will highlight the historical relations between Oman and other countries since its establishment until the end of 20th century. The Renaissance Gallery focused on the historical period lived by Oman until it transformed to a modern country with new institutions. exhibitions. As for the Intangible Heritage Gallery, it included various traditional musical instruments as well as briefing and Omani local cuisines. The museum also included a fully equipped learning center, state-of-the-art preventive conservation facilities that have been designed as per International Council of Museum standards. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. Innovative talents are revealed by orphans and people with special needs in the third forum in the Wilaya of Nakhl.
هنا الرائحة العالقة بالذاكرة تأخذنا دهشة مختلفة لتبهرنا بجمالها الآسر حيث ملتقى الأسرة. امنح نفسك شغف التجربة، فهنا حكاية الجمال لا تنتهي. مهرجان صلالة السياحي 2016 من 15 من يوليو إلى 31 من أغسطس. عمان، المحبة والوئام.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A tender of government treasury bills, issue number 12, was held in the Central Bank of Oman this week. The result of issue are as follows. The total value of the allotted treasury bills amounted to Rial Oman 70 million for a maturity period of 28 days from August 3rd until 31st, 2016. The interest rate on the repo operations with the CBO is 1% for the period from August 2nd until 8th, 2016, while the discount rate on the treasury bills discounting facilities with CBO is 1.75% for the same period. The treasury bills are short-term, highly secured financial instruments issued by the CBO on behalf of the government, which helps the licensed commercial banks to gainfully invest their surplus funds with added advantage of ready liquidity through discounting and repurchase facilities repo offered by the central bank. Oman oil October delivery reached $39.44. Dubai Mercantile Exchange said that the price of Oman oil declined $1.12 from the price of yesterday Monday, which was $40.56. The average price of Oman oil August 2016 delivery has stabilized at $46.60, thus $2.27 per barrel higher than July 2016 delivery. Muscat Securities Market General Index today lost 4.42 points, comprising a decline by 0.08% to close at 5,856 points compared to the last session, which stood at 5,860 points. The trading value today stood at 2.6 million Omani Rials, comprising a rise by 15.65% compared to the last sessions, which stood at 2.2 million Omani Rials. Within the framework of partnership between public and private sectors to uplift small and medium-sized enterprises and support entrepreneurs, our RAFT Fund signed a memorandum of understanding with Zubair Group for subsidizing entrepreneurs financed by the fund. As per the memorandum of understanding, beneficiaries of the financing provided by a RAFT Fund will be guided to benefit from the technical, administrative and training services provided by Zubair. The applications nominated by Zubair Enterprise will be also considered as per the terms and conditions in force. Zubair Group will also provide a number of free of charge training programs for entrepreneurs in several fields in coordinations with a RAFT Fund. Omani Women's Association in the Wilayah of Nakhal organized the third forum for orphans and people with special needs. The event, organized in the Wilayah of Wadi al-Ma'awil, aimed to highlight the efforts exerted by the civil society associations to take care of the orphans and people with special needs segment of the society. The forum also aimed to improve orphans' talents and emphasize their role in the society. It as well included a lecture to introduce social, cultural and family treaty rights of children. The forum was accompanied by an exhibition to showcase handicrafts of orphans like potteries, souvenirs and paintings. It witnessed a wide participation of various society segments. Now for international news, Syria's state news agency says rebel fire has killed at least 9 civilians in the government-controlled sections of the divided northern city of Aleppo. Sana reported today that 4 women and 3 children were among the 9 killed, while rebels shelled, fired and 3 front-line neighborhoods. Fighting has intensified around Aleppo since the government sealed off the lifeline to the Aleppo rebel-controlled neighborhoods. The rebels have launched a counter-offensive clashings with government forces on various fronts. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry urged Russia to restrain itself and the government in Syria as fierce fighting there continues on the day he had hoped political transition could start. Kerry said the government's attacks and prevented the warring parties from meeting for negotiations yesterday, the target date set for the regime and opposition forces to agree on the framework of a political transition. The target date was set with the agreement that the parties were going to be able to go to the talks and to begin immediately to negotiate.
Important days to determine whether or not
Arab-led coalition planes conducted air strikes on locations under the control of the Houthis group and their allied forces in the capital Sana'a. The airstrikes targeted areas in Ham and Arhab where several of the Houthis group were killed. On the other hand, the Yemeni government forces also targeted locations of the fighters in Bani Harith area in the capital Sana'a. Meanwhile, fierce clashes took place in Ham between the army forces and the resistance. Typhoon Nida swept through Hong Kong today, shutting down most of the financial hub with gale force winds and disrupting hundreds of flights. Hong Kong's first major typhoon this year brought gusts of more than 100 kilometers per hour after earlier making landfall in China's Guangdong province and prompted an amber warning signifying heavy rain. More than 155 flights were cancelled. Hundreds of passengers were stranded at the airport and 290 flights delayed. Low-lying areas were also put on the flood alert. Some people found their livelihoods were also affected. Incessant downpours have damaged swaths of land, uprooted trees and snapped telephone cables in dozens of districts in the Indian state of Bihar in the east, Assam in the remote northern and Himachal Pradesh in the north. A total of 96 people have been killed in the flooding in the 3 states over the past week. At least 17 rare one-horned rhinos have been killed due to the flooding of vast tracts of Assam's Kaziranga National Park. The park had 1.5 meter high flood waters in some places, forcing many of the park's animals, including wild elephants, wild buffaloes and boars, to cross a highway to move to higher ground. In Bihar state, around 260,000 flood victims were taking shelter in more than 400 relief camps. At least 400 medical camps have been set up, as well as to aid people who have spent several nights outdoors after their homes were submerged by rainwaters. And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with cloud accumulation and scattered rain over the Hajar Mountains, occasionally thunders. Winds will be easterly to northeasterly light to moderate over the coast of Sea of Oman, while on the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea it will be southwesterly moderate to active. Seas will be rough along the coasts of the Arabian Sea with a maximum wave height of 4 meters and slight along the rest of the coast with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Khasab ship joins the fleet of Royal Navy of Oman with the Ufuk project. The National Museum attracts more than 1,500 visitors during the first week of its opening to the public. And 70 million Omani Riyals is the total value of government treasury bills, issue number 12. With that, we come to an end of tonight's news bulletin. From the entire news team here at the news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, we thank you for joining us. So wish you a pleasant evening and good night.